Welcome back and welcome to part 4 of this Blender tutorial series where we're creating this bird nest nature scene. If you haven't seen the previous parts, you can check out the tutorial playlist linked in the video description. So this is the final part, and so in this part we're going to be adding like some feathers and some eggs in the nest, and we're going to be animating the camera, doing the rendering and video editing. Before we start this part, I wanted to let you know about my snow generator created with geometry nodes. So it's a geometry nodes modifier setup which you can add to objects, and it generates snow on top of the object. The geometry nodes modifier setup also has some different customizable values which you can use to customize the snow, and the product also comes with some different snow materials which you can add to the snow. If you'd like to purchase the product, you can find the product links in the description, or you can learn how to create the geometry nodes modifier setup yourself by watching the tutorial. Link is in the description. So to start off, I am going to append in the blue jay eggs from my other tutorial which I created on how to create the material for that. So what you can do is click on File and then click on Append. And I'm going to locate to the Blender file with the project files, so you can watch the tutorial yourself with the link in the description and create it yourself, or you can also purchase the material. Link is in the description if you want to purchase it. So let's just go inside the Blender file here, and then what we can do is go to Object, and then what we can do is just click on the blue jay egg and append in the object. Now I can just scale it down here and stick it here in the egg. Now blue jay eggs are a lot smaller than like chicken eggs. Chickens are a lot larger, so chicken eggs are going to be quite a bit bigger, but blue jays are a smaller bird, so the eggs are also going to be a lot smaller. So I'm going to double tap R to use the trackball rotation, kind of rotate it around, and scale it down and make it pretty small eggs. And I think 3 eggs look really nice. 3 is just a really nice number. So I'm going to hit Shift D to duplicate and Shift D to duplicate, and I'm just going to move these around and just make 3 eggs kind of placed there in the nest. And if you want to, in the tutorial I showed you how to turn this into a customizable node group, and also if you purchase the material this will come as a custom node group. So if you want to customize the settings of the blue jay egg, like change the scale or the colors and things, you can do that. Let's go into the camera view and see how that's looking. So I just want to have 3 little eggs here. Let's maybe even bring them down a little bit farther so you can just see them a little bit. That's pretty cool. So now what I want to do is create the feathers, and so I'm going to be using this feather image here from Pixabay. So you can download it with the link in the description, or if you also purchase the project files, then you'll already get all the textures and resources that you'll need. So I'll go to the add menu, and I'm going to go to image and add a mesh plane. So here is the feather. It's actually a swan feather, at least that's what it says in the name on Pixabay, but it'll be fine for just a little feather for the bird. So let's import images as planes. So let's just scale this way down, and let's move it over here, and I'll make it even smaller, bring it over here. Now what I want to do is hit the / to go into local view so we can just see this one object, because we definitely need to do a lot of things to edit this object. So I'm going to go into the material preview, and I'll go to front view, and I'll hit tab to go into edit mode, and I'll use the knife tool. So hit K for the knife tool, and I'm going to click along here, and I'm just going to cut out the feather. Go all the way around just like that, and then click there and hit enter. So now you can see it's cut out. So now if I go to the face select, we can shift select both of these faces and delete the faces. Now you can still see there's this big black part here, and that's not going to look nice, but what we can do is make a mask and make just the black part be transparent. So let's go over here to the shading workspace, and I'll zoom into the feather, and I can hit / to go into local view, and I'll just go into the rendered viewport mode. So what I'm going to do is drag this feather back here, and then I'll unplug the alpha, and I'm going to put the color into the alpha instead. And you can see it's already looking transparent, but I want to change that. So let's search for a color ramp, drop this here between the color and the alpha, because you can see it's fading away too much. So what I want to do is drag these 2 tabs together. And so if I Control Shift selected to preview it, you can see we're basically just creating a mask for where it's going to be transparent. So what I'm going to do is drag the black tab kind of over here and the white tab over to about there. And I can see it just looks like we have a little transparent feather. So that's looking great. Let's also turn the roughness up to like a 0.8 so it's a bit more rough. And then I want to add a little bit of changes to the colors. So I'm going to search for the RGB curves, and I'll drop the RGB curves here before it goes into the base color, because I don't really like how light it is. I want it to be a bit darker. So if I click here to add a dot, let's just drag this dot down just so that the feather is a little bit darker. And then also what I want to do is go to the add menu and search for a hue saturation value and put this after the RGB curves but before the principled shader. And what I just want to do is take the saturation and turn it to 0, because you can see it has some really weird colors. It almost looks slightly blue and slightly green or something. So if I turn the saturation to 0, you can see the feather's just kind of a gray color. So that's what I'm going to do. So let's go back here to the layout. And then I do also want to make this a bit more round because right now it's very flat. So I'm going to go into edit mode. Let's go into the material preview and I'm going to go to the vertex select. And I'm going to hit the K button for the knife tool. And I'm going to click here on this side. And then I'm going to click along here and just add a cut right there in the very center, going to the very end, and then hit enter just like that. And then what I also want to do is select that vertex right there. And I'm going to double tap the G key and drag it down here. Maybe select this one, double tap G and drag it down. Select this one, double tap G and drag it up. So I want a little bit more space next to this center loop. So I'm now going to hold down the Alt key and select that center loop. And I'm going to press Control B. So hit Control B and then scroll out your mouse wheel. And I'm going to do that a few times and then left click and right click so they stay in the center. So now you can see that there's going to be more loops there in the center, and we can use that to round out the feather. Now I do want to fix the topology a little bit because the topology isn't the best here. So I'm going to use the knife tool by hitting K, and I'm going to click here and hit enter, and then just continue to do that. So use the knife tool just to cut along here, just to add a bit more geometry so that the loops go all the way to the end. So I'm just going to do that for both sides. Also do that for this one here. So hit K, click there, and then hit enter. And I'm going to do that for just the last few ones here. And then also right here, it looks like we have two vertices. If I hit 5 on the numpad to go into orthographic view, I can zoom in closely. You can see there's two vertices which are really close. So I'm just going to double tap the G key to edge slide it close there to that other one. And then if I select everything, I'm going to hit M and I'm going to merge by distance. So it got rid of that one vertex. So let's go into the rendered view or the material preview, see how that's looking. So now what I want to do is Alt select that loop right there in the center, and I can make sure proportional editing is on, and I'll hit G and then bring it out along the y-axis, and I need to scroll my mouse wheel to change the size of the proportional editing and just make it so that the feather is a bit more round. And let's also use the object context menu and shade it smooth. We can also go to top view and we can rotate it around like that so it's a little bit more round. Maybe bring this out there in the center so that the feather is nice and round. All right, so let's hit / to go out of local view. And now what I can do is just rotate it, bring it down here. And I think having like 2 little feathers is pretty nice. So I'm just gonna move this around here. Let's go into the rendered view or the material preview. That's kind of easier to see it. Then I'm going to stick a feather there and then duplicate another feather, maybe make it smaller and stick another feather there. All right, like that. So now we have 2 little feathers there in the nest. So now I want to animate the camera. So I'm going to click here to select the camera and let's drag the timeline over to the very beginning. And I'm going to hit the K button and I'm going to insert location, rotation, and scale. I'm now going to drag over here to the very end. So 250. And I'll hit G and then double tap Z to zoom in. I can also hit R to rotate and hit Z to rotate on the Z axis and move it over like that. So just find a nice place where it's zoomed in a bit. And then you can hit K and insert location, rotation, scale. Then if I select everything with the A key in the timeline, I'll hit T and I can change the keyframe interpolation to linear. And this way it's going to play at a consistent speed instead of just slowly moving in and then slowly stopping. So now you can see we have a nice little animation. I think I'm going to scale the keyframes farther apart from each other so that the camera even moves a little bit slower. So you can hit S to scale those keyframes. Now I do also just want to add a subtle camera shake. So we'll select the camera. And what I'm going to do is click here on the corner and drag out to split the window. And then if I click here to change the editor type, we'll change this to the graph editor. And so let's make this a bit smaller so we have more space here. So if I click here on the arrow here to bring this down, we have the object transforms. So make sure you have the camera selected and you can see there's the different location values. And then right here in the graph editor, you can see there are the keyframes. And if you do want to learn a lot more about the graph editor, then I do have a graph editor for beginners tutorial. Link is in the description if you want to check that out. So I'm going to click on the X location and then I can click here on modifiers. And so we can add modifiers to the keyframes. So I'll click on add modifier and I can add the noise modifier. Now if I hit the space bar to play this, you can see it's moving around a lot. So it's adding noise to that keyframe. So let's just change the strength of this so that it's much more subtle. So I'm going to turn the strength to a 0.01. So now you can see that it's not moving as much, but it's still going back and forth really quickly. So I'm going to turn the scale way up to like a 30. So now it's going to be very subtle, but if you zoom in closely, you can see the camera is just slightly moving back and forth. And here on the graph editor, you can see there is that noise, so it is slightly noisy. Now I want to add this same noise to the other locations. So if I click on this little arrow going up here, that's going to copy the modifier. And then I can click on the Y location and click on this little down arrow to paste it. Then I can click here on the Z location and click here on this arrow to paste it. So now you can see on all the keyframes there, so the X, Y, and Z locations, it has that little noise. So if I just close the graph editor, make it really small, let's take a look at this. You can see there, especially if you look at the corners or look at just one object here, you can see it kind of has a handheld camera shake. So I will click here and then drag over and let go just to close the graph editor, and we'll hit Control S to save. So let's now go over the render settings. So I'm going to go right here to the render properties, and I'm going to have the motion blur on, so that will just make it look a bit more realistic. We already chose the view transform of filmic and very high contrast, and I am using cycles render for more realism. Let's open up the sampling here, and I'm going to render this with just 100 samples, and then I'm also going to click on the denoise there so it denoises the render. Let's now open up the light paths, and so if we turn the light paths down, then it will render a bit faster. So let's go into the rendered view to see how this is looking, and so the indirect light I can turn to 0, the caustics we can turn those off, we don't need caustics, and the filter glossy I can turn off. Then we can open up the max bounces, and if I turn the transparent all the way down, you can see now there's no transparency, so that's not going to work. Let's just turn the transparency as little as we need, so it looks like maybe just turning it up to like a 3 or a 4 is fine. I'm just going to turn the transparency to 5 just to make sure it has enough transparency, because the more transparent layers you have, the more transparency levels you're going to need, because there is some transparency like on the edges there of the leaves. So we can also turn the transmission down because there's not really any transmission. You can see if I look here on the bottom, you can see even if I turn the transmission down, you can see there's still going to be kind of that nice glowing light there on the leaves. Now if I turn this total value and the diffuse and glossy way too far down, it will start to make the reflections just look slightly worse. It is really hard to notice, but I do want to just keep it up a little bit. So I'm going to turn the diffuse, glossy, and total just to 2, just to make sure there is at least a couple of light bounces so it stays looking nice and realistic. So now we need to render all the frames to a folder. So we're going to go here to the output properties, and here on the file format, you could use PNG. I'm going to use JPEG, so the file size is smaller for each image, but just to make sure the quality is really high, I'll turn that to 100. But you could totally use PNG if you want to make sure it's like absolutely lossless and it's not going to lose any quality, but JPEG with 100 will work fine. And then I need to click on this file icon to set an output. So I'm going to click here to add a new folder in my project files. I can just call this frames, and I can go inside this folder and then click on the accept button. So now it's going to render all the 250 frames into that folder. So hit Control S to save, and then we'll click on render and render animation, and I'll come back when this is finished. Alright, and the animation is finished rendering, so I just opened up a completely new file, and I'm going to click over here on video editing, or you can click on file, and you can click on new, and you can go to video editing. So in Blender's video editor, I'll hit Shift A for the add menu, and let's add image sequence. So you can locate to the folder where you have all the frames, and I'll hit the A key to select all the frames, and we'll click on add image strip. You can hit the space bar just to play the timeline and watch it, and make sure that the resolution is the same resolution that you rendered it. So that's the resolution I'm using, and we rendered it in the default frames per second, which was 24 frames per second. And then I'm also going to be adding in a sound effect from freesound.org. So I'm just going to drag and drop in the sound effect from my file browser, and then I can just kind of move the sound effect where I want. So there's some nice bird sound effects. Alright, so then to render this to a final video, you can go over here to the side on the output. I'm just going to save it on my desktop, or you can click on this file icon to choose a folder, and I can just call it animation. And then here on the file format, I like to use FFmpeg video for the video. On the encoding, I'm going to use MPEG-4 on the container. On the video codec, I'll use H.264, and I'll use medium quality and good for the quality there. And then if you have any audio, I like to use AAC for the audio codec. So then you can save the video editing file and then just click on render and render the animation. So that's going to wrap up this tutorial series on how to create this bird nest nature animation. So thank you so much for watching the tutorial series. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you'd like to help support me and this channel and purchase the tutorial project files, you can get that with the links in the description on my Gumroad store and Patreon page. And if you purchase the project files, then you'll get the finished Blender file, the final renders. And also joining my Patreon page is a great way to help support the channel, because as well as getting access to lots of Blender content, you'll be helping to support the channel each month. So thank you everyone so much for your support. And if you'd like to watch another tutorial series which is similar to this, then I also have a birdhouse tutorial series. So here's the final animation that I create in that tutorial series. So I'll also have a link in the description to that tutorial series if you want to check it out. But that'll finish it up for this tutorial series, so thank you for watching.